What do you think about having a monthly newsletter to keep contact with industry relationships? If you think it's a good idea, what would you recommend putting in it, especially if you're in a lull? So here's the thing. I don't think that just on a blanket basis, all actors should have a monthly newsletter to keep up with industry relationships. I don't want everybody to go run off thinking, oh God, now I have to do that too. I think it's really specific. First of all, I want to talk about the nature of newsletters. People's inboxes are overwhelmed. And one of the rules of email is that you shouldn't be receiving email from somebody who has not asked for it, like a newsletter. It's different if it's a personal one-off email, but sending somebody a newsletter who hasn't specifically opted in and said, I would like to receive your newsletter, is literally the definition of spam. So if you're going to do a newsletter, please make sure you get explicit permission from that person to add you to their list and send it. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're just shoving your stuff at them and they didn't ask for it. And you don't want to be in that position of having them think of you that way. So let's assume you did get permission to send a monthly newsletter. Should you do that? And what should you put on it? If you're going to do it, you should be the kind of person who likes to create content, who likes to write, who likes to come up with this stuff. If it's going to be I don't know what to send, I don't know what to say, now I have these people who want to hear from me, then that's probably not going to be a good way for you to keep in touch. So you want to do things like that you have a flair for, or that you're going to do, or that you're capable of doing, or that you can make yourself do. If you're not going to be consistent with a newsletter, then don't do it. Because number one, you've set expectations with somebody when you say, would you like my newsletter? And they say yes. Now they're waiting. They're not sitting by their inbox waiting, but you don't want to send one and then not send one for 6 months and then whatever, because by then they're going to also forget that they gave you permission. They'll mark you as spam. And also there's a kind of integrity about it. If you say you're going to do something, you should do it. So if you say, I'm going to send you a monthly newsletter, then send a monthly newsletter. So having said that, let's assume you're the kind of person who is like, yeah, that kind of feels like a fun thing for me. I would like to do that. I like to write. I like to create things. I think it'd be cool. And I think I could be consistent. What should be on it? What should you put on it, especially if you're in a lull? And this is why I say you have to be the kind of person who enjoys creating content and or writing or coming up with something, because it can't just be about something that you're shooting or doing, performing, because you don't really control the flow of that on a consistent basis. And if you don't have any hard news like that to share, then you're going to be like, what should I write? I think some of the things that you could think about sharing are beyond just the specific obvious things like I booked something, I'm in something I'm doing is airing. I think that you can go beyond that, going beyond the obvious. You can also put your taking a new class, a film recommendation, a performance that inspired you, somewhere you've been, traveled to, a festival you went to. Think about things beyond the obvious of I shot something, something's airing, and things like that. And you can get creative too. If you have other things, let's say it is a lull month for you, where you don't have any obvious things going on in your career, which by the way, then that's another question for you. If you have nothing you can think of to add in a particular month, then maybe that's a problem to address as well. If you have nothing going on, then maybe it's time to work on how can I have more things going on? You know what I'm saying? But then if you're in a true lull and you can't think of anything else, then what about some other pursuits? Like I said, things, travel that you're doing, some other creative thing that you do. Do you dance? Do you paint? Do you sing? Do you salsa? Whatever it is, like write something else. Just be in your integrity. If you say you're sending a monthly newsletter, send one. And don't make it epically long. Who has time for that? Make it short, punchy, fun, and to the point. Make it the kind of thing you would want to read if you subscribe to somebody's newsletter, okay? Don't write an epic poem about every piece of minutia of your life and acting career, because ain't nobody got time for that. And I say that with love.